some time off to handle things with the house. So I thank everybody for their patience. This is going to be a short mental health vlog, but definitely one that I wanted to talk about for a while, but I was just trying to figure out a way to do it because, like I said, doing these are not easy for me. It's a balance of how much of myself I really want to reveal, how much of my life I really want exposed, and how comfortable I feel exposing aspects of how my mind works because we aren't in a world that fully understands mental health. We aren't in a world that takes it seriously. And in this weird clout seeking culture we seem to have online, I'm always worried about being lumped into those who wear my reality as an accessory. So I like being careful what I put out there because there are a lot of frauds out there who like to pretend like they know what this is like or utilize it to act out and behave in awful ways and then go, oh no, you can't blame me for my bad acts, it's my mental health. And it's frustrating. I'm not going to act like I didn't have bad days or bad moments. I was literally raised in moral ambiguity with people who did things that only stimulated their happiness, if you could even call it that. Everything from escaping with drugs to doing things to make fast money. I grew up in ways that I now understand were not normal. And it's not easy. I read a story the other day about this 3 year old whose father literally took him on a heist and used him as a shield, and he lost his life. And you start to reflect back on some of the things that I did when I was a child with my parent, thinking it was completely normal. Now realizing he probably had me by his side because he more than likely thought the people he was dealing with wouldn't fire on him with a little girl. And that shit scares me because you never know. You never know if he would have dealt with somebody who just didn't care. And the reality of that hits you sometimes. The things that make you feel completely abnormal. And what I did, which a lot of people do, is find ways to cocoon and protect myself. And one of those things was complete avoidance. It was really easy for me, even as a child, to just close the door to things, as it's called. If friendship was ended, oh well, moving on. If a relationship ended, okay, I only allow people a certain amount of closeness and then that wall comes right up. But what's really easy for me, and I don't think people understand this about my personality, that's why I'm putting it out there, is how easy it is for me to detach. It is self preservation at this time in my life. The ability to walk away from things that I gave it my all to is something I'm used to. I've never had a true sense of permanence. We were always moving when I was little. There was never a place that was just mine, and I don't get used to stuff like that. And I think it's hard because I'm starting to get to the age where I want to have more permanence, but I don't know if I can enjoy something like that. It is a weird place to be, but I think a lot of people don't understand what it means when I say avoidance. It means I can throw myself into a relationship or a friendship or a project or something that feels like really interesting at the moment. And then when I realize this no longer interests me, I just stop. And I know for some people it's like, well, how can you do that? How can you just walk away from things? Don't you feel anything? Yes and no. And it's hard to explain because I do feel emotions. I think that's one of the really stupid things people say about sociopathy that drives me up a wall. We feel things, we just choose what we feel. And it's really easy for me to detach from the things that people consider norms. Love is such a weird emotion for me. I know the concept exists. I enjoy watching it in other people. I just feel for me personally, I don't lean into it the same way regular people do. And saying that puts a lot of people off, and I don't know how to help you. I just feel like the idea and concept of loving somebody is already weird. I like being around people. I think that should be enough. If I'm interested in you, that should be enough. But for some people, it's not. They have to hear things like, oh, I love you, even if it's not true. And I think that's why I started to really retreat even more from society. I feel like too many people want that fakeness, and I'm just not about that life. And I think sadly, there are too many people that lean into the idea of avoiding heavily, and that can be a bad thing too. And I want to try to find balance, but right now the world is not where it's supposed to be. We had to take kiddo out to a college for testing, and that was stressful. And then I had to take him for an evaluation for medical stuff, and that was stressful. And my mind just keeps going, I'm happier when it's just the three of us. I'm happier when I'm not dealing with people who live outside my house. And it's not a good mental place to be because I can really heavily lean into avoiding others. More so now that I'm older than even when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, it was easy for me to grab a book, find a corner, even during a party or something, and just keep to myself. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's just introversion. We didn't have those terms when I was a kid. Bookworm, nerdy girl, weirdo, all those things you hear from the people around you because you just didn't want to deal with them. And then when I was lucky enough to get a Walkman, I was able to combo put music in my ears so I didn't have to hear the noise around me as I was forced to deal with gatherings and other social events that really didn't interest me. Avoidance has been a big part of my life, and good, bad, or in between, it is the way I've been able to survive. When things get to be too much, when the world gets to be too much, I retreat into the safety and the privacy of my life. And I've put up boundaries towards anybody who don't directly live with me, and even if I can be honest, the people who live with me. There's only so far they can tread within mama's personal space before it's like, you're done. Go to your side of the room or go to your side of the house and let me be. I'm often in my head when I'm creating stuff, doing projects, designing stuff. I just don't have it in me once I hit that limit to deal with anything. And I'm fortunate enough right now to have a partner where I can be open and honest when I hit that limit. And for the most part, he's understanding. Sometimes he'll still try to push the buttons and the limits just to see. But for the most part, he really does respect. Okay, 10 is at her limit. Let her have her space. And you need that. I think a lot of people think sociopaths can't be in relationships. And for the most part, honestly speaking, it was a lot easier for me when I wasn't in a relationship because I didn't have to worry about whether or not I was being too blunt, whether or not I was being too surly, whether or not my manic moods were going to be a problem. But I'm happy now. And I think it can be done, but you have to have somebody that's willing to work with you. You just have to be open and honest and upfront when things aren't okay, and honestly speaking, you have to work through some of the stuff that you carry with you. I think one of the biggest fallacies is that people who have dealt with abuse or have grown up with not so normal situations will continue the cycle. That's one of the things that have always bothered me, that whole trope of, well, you've been hurt, so you want to hurt. No, some of us really just lean into extremes in other ways. I have done everything I can to cultivate a aura of avoiding people and things that either are toxic, get on my nerves, or will force my hands towards violence. I know, especially living in New York, I had a thirst to solve things with my hands, a thirst to jump in and handle stuff that I had to let go of, and I don't want to live that life anymore. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand it unless they're in that mindset. So, like I said, this isn't going to be a long mental health vlog. I just wanted to get some of this out. I will be doing these once a week again. I thank everybody who tunes into these, all of you who share, all of you who have been following. I no longer post on Twitter for now. I don't know if I'm going back to that site or not. For now, for my mental health, I think it's best that I stay off of that app. I've been looking at other apps. I created a Mastodon account and Common Ground, but they're still trying to figure out how many people they can actually hold on their servers. So until I find a new social media home, I'll just be doing these vlogs and the mental health vlogs and the Bonnet Chronicles, and hopefully that'll be enough. But until then, I will be doing my live streams of gaming and having fun on the weekends, and you can feel free to join. I don't chat much when I'm doing that because I get fully pulled into these games. But, hopefully you'll enjoy my commentary as I go through these worlds with my friends and stuff. But either way, I'm going to wrap this up, get the gaming stream started up. I really am appreciative to all of those who sit here to learn about mental health. I think talking about it helps put a human face, helps cut away from the people who try to fake their way through it, and really gives those of us who are struggling with this someone who understands. That's all I want to do with these. And if it helps you, I really am glad for that. Thank you.